Insurance? They don't have insurance?
I don't think they have any, but you know, it's more anything that kids don't like, you know,
Young people? Okay, but he needs personal individual counseling. Okay, I'll look into it. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. White.
Judge?
A list of your board appointees that you think do a really good job. I'm going to reappoint as mine Rapolo and Ricketts. But if there's any other, okay.
I'll have Tracy send it.
All right. It is 9 o'clock. Court will please come to order. There's a quorum present. All the court members are present. All the legal notices have been duly posted, and the court is duly called. Is there a motion to close the October term?
No.
Yeah, let's fix it.
Just motion.
Amen. I'm what's his name? I'm Ron somebody from Anchorman.
That's all right.
All right.
Motion.
That's what you say, man. Have we not met this month? All right. Is there a motion to open court?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, so you're going to say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
What if we opposed?
It's okay, Judge.
Hey, man, if it's on the paper, I'll just say, help you San Diego if it's on the paper, man.
We're just going to give thanks on Thursday.
All right. Bailiff, please open court.
The Dallas County Commission's Court is now in session of the November 2018 term. The Honorable Judge
He's not sure. He's not sure about that part. Honorable. Okay. All right. Our invocation will be given by my guest, Chanel Hogue, and I'm gonna make sure I get all this right. So I'm gonna put on the old man glasses for you. Come on up.
Yeah, don't mess it up.
She's a graduate of the University of Southern California, and upon graduation, she began her journey in education as a high school math teacher, helping close the achievement gap. Passionate about the work, she furthered her career in education at the University of Florida by recruiting the fourth largest number of seniors and the largest number of juniors in the country to enter the classroom upon graduation. Chanel continued her impact by leading both students and teachers in their journey to become technology champions as a leader of an educational technology company in Dallas, where she moved with her husband in 2006. We're glad to have you here. She was able to impact thousands of students and teachers across the country, develop and lead professional development programs for districts, and manage over $400,000 in services. Chanel is currently the director of Growth Corps and Girls Ministry at Concord Church, where she oversees the expansion and development of small groups for a congregation of more than 8,000 members, and has created a space for middle and high school girls to grow in their faith at the most crucial times in their lives. In her free time, she loves to spend time with her husband and 5-month-old son, discovering new restaurants and Netflix series.
All right, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, first let me just say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many blessings that you have bestowed upon our lives. Thank you for life itself and for the health that we need to fulfill our callings that you have placed on our lives. Thank you for the ability to be involved in such important and necessary work, and for trusting each person in this room with the responsibilities of our city. In the scriptures, you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. So I pray for our elected officials, and in particular for this council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern our city amidst the conflicting interests and issues. Give them the discernment to do what is good and fitting for our city. Give them the ability to work together in harmony, even when there is honest disagreement. And I pray for personal peace in their individual lives and joy in their tasks, as it may not always be something that we look forward to doing. As we prepare for our Thanksgiving, we ask that we do not forget all that you have done in our lives and in our city. We pray that you would give us the ability to rest. We know that this work is not for the faint of heart, and so I pray that each person in this room would get a chance to recharge as we go and spend time with our family and our friends. Lastly, I just pray for the agenda set for today. Give guidance and direction that the discussions would not be personal, but they would be pleasing and glorifying to you and those that would benefit the city. Those people who work and live in the city of Dallas would be thought of in every decision made today. It is in your Son, Jesus' name, that I say this prayer. Amen.
Amen. That was beautiful. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner.
Good on that. Yeah, good on that. All right. Before we get too far, and I hear us buy into this, and I've only said this for the last 30 years. This Thanksgiving, we get all enamored. Dr. Barry Shango did a book called African People, European Holidays of Mental Genocide. And I guess during the recent elections, and I want to congratulate all of those individuals who were successful. But I guess it raised its head, I guess, what is it, Dakota? And the Dakotas, when they continue to talk about indigenous people in this country having no addresses, still living on reservations in 2018, really, and we I know we buy into this. Every day is a Thanksgiving Day, but I always have to say that, and I'm going to say it till the day I die. 2018, people are still living on reservations, plantations in this country, and part of their suppression was they don't have an address. And so as a result, they didn't get a chance to participate in the so-called electoral process because they don't have addresses on reservations. And so while we are embracing what we're doing, just remember in this country, we have a hell of a long ways to go. And you can talk about the author of confusion, but we know who that is. They say it's the devil, but we know. But I always have to say that I've said it for 30 years. I'm going to continue to say it. And I do want to commend people. I think Bonnie Goldstein got 480-something thousand votes. She led the ticket. She was, and Sheriff Brown on the contested side got more than any other elected official. We appreciate everybody who participated. But as, like I say, we go into this holiday, I hope we'll reflect on what is real and not some pie.
We're not done yet, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, we ain't done, but hell, I don't even think we started. I mean, here it's 2018. And and I mean, when I kept hearing that these folks don't have addresses, but they own reservations. Plantations, same thing.
Our first resolution today is from Commissioner Daniel.
Speaking of which,
No addresses?
no addresses. Homelessness Awareness Month is what we are addressing right now, and with those people who are active in this particular area in the Dallas area, please come forward. You can come forward, it's okay. Of course, of course. Whereas November is Homeless Awareness Month and National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week is the week before Thanksgiving each year. This is a time for all of us to think about what we are thankful for, a perfect time to share our compassion with our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness, and work towards a world where no one has to experience hunger or homelessness. And whereas the solutions to homelessness are bigger than any of us, and we must resolve to work together. As the holidays approach, many choose to donate some of their time, attention, and resources to others. As temperatures are dropping, there is no better time than now to think about the impact of providing food and shelter for those in need. And whereas we recognize that hunger and homelessness continues to be a serious problem for many individuals and families in Dallas County, The shortage of affordable housing in Dallas County and the surrounding areas have made it difficult for those experiencing homelessness to find appropriate housing. The 2018 Dallas County point-in-time count really revealed 4,140 people who don't have a stable place to live. This represents a 9% increase in overall homelessness and a 23% increase in those with no shelter from 2017. And whereas criminalizing homelessness is ineffective and costs more money than solving the problem by ensuring access to housing, Dallas County is making strides in diversion from jail and in health care to make sure that those who need shelter are not in jail because of that need. And whereas there are many organizations committed to sheltering and providing supportive services, as well as meals and food supplies to people experiencing homelessness, including the Bridge and the Family Gateway, City Square, Catholic Charities, the Stew Pot, many other private and charitable organizations, as well as our major partners in government, such as the City of Dallas, the City of Garland, the City of Irving. Whereas all persons experiencing homelessness should have access to affordable housing, education, health care, employment, income, and other opportunities and services that allow all to live with dignity. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim November 2018 as Homelessness Awareness Month and encourages all citizens to recognize that many people do not have housing and need support from citizens, local governments, and private public nonprofit service entities, and I so move.
And
I'll
I
second this. Second.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
You know, Commissioner, and again, it was interesting, you tailgated right on that. This whole thing of homeless is a direct derivative of public policy. You know, and in the moment, you know, we can have all of these bond elections, we can talk about incentivizing people for housing and transferring money from TIFs, so-called, to certain areas of housing. And at the end of the day, the numbers just continue to grow. And I think it's, again, I'm back to public policy, but I'm tailgating on the reservation piece. You know, that's public policy. But I mean, at what point in time, we've got to be responsible for it. At the end of the day, we're responsible.
At the end of the day, I think we're all responsible, and I appreciate a number of the people who every day work at addressing the baseline issues of what's going on in our community. And if you will introduce yourselves, just to show that a lot of people, a lot of us, and many who couldn't come today also are working on this together.
Good morning, Charlotte Sharp, City of Dallas, Office of Homeless Solutions.
Thank you.
Joyce White, Dallas County Criminal Justice.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kimberly Rawls, Dallas County Criminal Justice.
Thank you.
Laura Edmonds, Dallas County Criminal Justice Department.
Good morning, Monica Hardman, City of Dallas, Office of Homeless Solutions.
Justin Vander, Prism Health, North Texas.
Good morning, Walter Taylor, North Texas Behavioral Health Authority.
Welcome, Walter.
Ellen Magnus from Family Gateway.
Thank you, Ellen.
Good morning, Mike Laughlin with Dallas County Criminal Justice Department.
Thank you. It takes a lot of people working together to see what we can do to address many of the issues that all of us are very, very much aware of. So thank you very much.
Judge, I have a resolution. Will Gertrude Summers and her delegation please come forward? Morning.
Good morning.
Whereas Dallas County Commissioners Court takes special notice where an individual has given long and faithful service to Dallas County. And whereas Gertrude Summers was born in Manny, Louisiana, she is a graduate of Manny High School and Valley Vocational Technical School in Manny, Louisiana. She is a volunteer and faithful member of the successful incorporated church. She enjoys decorating, arts and craft, and traveling. And whereas Gertrude is the proud mother of 3 children, Lafayette, Maxie, Cornelius, Maxie, and Denisha Summers, she is a proud grandmother of 4 and is expecting 2 more grandchildren. And whereas Gertrude, a woman of many talents, retires to volunteer at her church, travel, and spoil her grandchildren. She wishes to thank everyone for a journey of enrichment and accepts all things learned and appreciated as life's experience. And whereas Gertrude's transition through the Dallas County Sheriff's Department Jail Vault Division has opened many avenues of knowledge, many facets of accomplishments have been made by the way of classes, conferences, and applied knowledge for the successful day-to-day operation in this department for over 30 years. She is one of a few clerks that are part of the Kids and Cops program. And whereas Gertrude began her Dallas County career on May 16, 1988 in the Dallas County Sheriff's Department as a Clerk 5 and promoted a year later to Clerk 6. And whereas Gertrude has continuously served the Dallas County Sheriff's Department Vault Division in positions with increasing leadership responsibility, including civilian supervisor and process support supervisor, where she currently serves. And whereas Gertrude has served Dallas County continuously and diligently for over 30 years, and now therefore be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and extend sincere appreciation to Gertrude L. Summers for over 30 years of faithful service and further expresses best wishes on this her retirement. And I so move.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Let me just say, and Sheriff, I know you want to come forth and say something, but you weren't around when Mr. Dale Thomas and I were. Let me tell you, this used to be one of the most challenging parts of the Sheriff's Department in terms of keeping up day to day with the accounts receivable, the accounts payable. I think y'all get they're calling me. They don't want you to leave. That's all right. That's all right. You're in time. But Sheriff, I just want you to know this department has really gone through some real transition. It was this court, prior court, that basically said, when we went over and looked at just the facilities, they worked under some fairly dire circumstances. Just glad she and some of her colleagues didn't have claustrophobia. That mail coming through there, I see people affirming. But just it's a real integral part. And of course now you've advanced it so that it goes to wristbands. You don't have to handle the funds, and so it's been really a change over the years. And so just thank you. So Sheriff.
To this court, thank you for the acknowledgement this morning on behalf of Ms. Summers. Let me say that you talked about her being a supervisor over the processes. This whole machine, the Sheriff's Department, operates by process. And so Ms. Summers, being a part of that, has been a tremendous asset to the department in that that's where the rubber meets the road. And so she has helped us. You talked about how we've come into the new age now of doing things, and she has been a tremendous part of that. And so we are thankful. We are going to miss her. We're going to miss the commitment and the loyalty that she has brought to this department. And so we wish her well today on her retirement.
Now let her keep that nice looking jacket that she's got today.
Good morning.
Just wanted to personally thank you, Ms. Summers, for everything that you've done for over 30 years in our department. As Commissioner Price so eloquently stated, the jail vault is not an easy area to work. You're dealing with inmate property and funds, so absolutely you cannot be claustrophobic. You have to go in there and have lots of patience and be able to work with all kinds of folks. And this young lady right here, Ms. Summers, has done that for over 30 years in our department, and we will miss her dearly. Thank you very much.
Do you know that? No, we want you, because I know, do you recognize this guy sitting here as the auditor?
Yes, I do. Well, I just want to thank everybody for all the nice words, and I'm gonna miss the sheriff's department. And I still have your letter when you gave me 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, but it was because you guys, we went over there and spent a lot of time up in that facility. We saw what you were working with. I think even some of us went over there with sledgehammers and took out some walls as we began to expand that whole property deal over there in the sheriff's department. And then we get calls when people have left their property because we got a policy, as the sheriff just said, we're going to dispose of it. We can't, we can't store all of that stuff. But I remember we knocked out walls and put in new machines and what I call them, those cleaner racks. But they were just bundling stuff, and it was a very difficult environment. And just thank you for helping and seeing us through. Now they just go through with a band and wanted, and so they know how much is in there. They know how much is spent. We've come a long ways, and you've seen us do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
They were supposed to. I don't know what my folks are. I think they're waiting for some information.
They're already Thanksgiving.
Okay. No thanks.
I'm just,
Okay.
it was a joke.
Yeah, it is a joke. Okay.
Okay, the next resolution is the life and legacy of Honorable Darlene Ewing. As you all know, colleagues, members of the audience, she just passed away this last week. And the resolution will be giving a letter day to her family who could not be with us this morning. So it reads as follows. Whereas Judge Darlene Ewing was born in Corpus Christi, Texas, to Richard Carroll Ewing and Alpha Ann Ewing at the Naval Base soon after the family moved to California, where she spent her childhood, then moved to Robstown, Texas. There she graduated from high school and went to college at East Texas State University, moving on to law school and graduating from University of Texas. Honorable Ewing earned her bachelor's degree from East Texas State University and later earned her law degree from the University of Texas Law School in Austin. And whereas, upon graduation in 1978, Honorable Ewing began her legal career as a staff attorney for the Dallas Legal Aid Society. In 1980, she started to work for the Dallas County Child Support Department. In 1982, she started her own family law practice, and in 1986, she was certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization in Family Law. And whereas, for almost 40 years, Honorable Ewing practiced family law in Dallas County, handling a myriad of family situations involving drug abuse, alcohol abuse, sex addiction, physical abuse, emotional abuse, domestic violence, child abuse, financial disputes, property disputes, and custody disputes. She took great pride in helping her clients, and her outstanding reputation was well deserved. And whereas, after serving as the president of the Lake Highlands White Rock Democratic Club, Honorable Ewing ran for the Dallas County Democratic Party chair and won the race handily, beginning to serve as chair in 2005. The following year, she initiated and led the party's first coordinated campaign, which resulted in a complete Democratic sweep of all county offices. Honorable Ewing went on to lead the party for several more cycles, successfully keeping Dallas County blue. And whereas, after serving as the Dallas County Democratic Chair for 10 years, Honorable Ewing resigned in 2015 to run for a family court bench, which she easily won. 10 days prior to her death, she ran unopposed and was reelected to the 254th Family District Court. And whereas Honorable Ewing had a great love for politics and for bettering her community, she gave to multiple charities generously and spent many hours volunteering. Honorable Ewing was a fighter, and she will be known as a good friend to many, an excellent lawyer, a respected judge, and an incredible strategist. During her 10-year term as chair of the Dallas County Democratic Party, Honorable Ewing ushered in an era of sweeping political change, which has lasted and increased for the past 12 years. She leaves a legacy for Dallas County as she made the world a better place. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does her with great sadness and respect reflect on the life and legacy of Honorable Darlene Ewing and appreciate her contributions to our community and her decades of service to Dallas County, and I so move.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
And
is the funeral at 10 or 11? I thought it was at 10.
It's at 10.
It's at 10.
Okay, it is at 10. Okay. I was going to try to speed it up to get y'all to it, but there's no way I can speed it up that fast. Okay. Next, we've got a couple of presentations. Ganesh, come on up and give yours.
And if everybody can sign it, we can have it framed and hopefully have it ready for the funeral if we don't make it. Thank you.
Unless your people really get, because my guy was sitting there this morning early, so.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks will be there.
She does have, I gave her one last night, or gave her mom one last night.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's something there. So it'll be good for Thursday.
Mine's already there.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
The first slide basically is the arbovirus surveillance report. We are almost concluding this mosquito season. And if you, Ryan, if you go to the second page of that presentation, you'll see that we've had a total of 13 human West Nile virus cases with one reported death. And just to put it in perspective with last year's, we had 26 West Nile virus cases and 2 deaths. So it's basically almost half of what was reported last year in terms of cases and deaths. The other stat that I want to share with the Commissioners Court is the total number of positive traps that we had. It is 199 at this point. We don't expect any more because the season is, of course, coming to an end. Versus last year, we had about 376 positive traps. So it just gives you a perspective from what happened last year to this year. We can move to the next slide and on to the flu. Obviously, we are again in the midst of the flu season at this point. We've had so far this again in perspective to last year, we've had about 29 positive reported tests so far, which is 1.7%. Versus last year, about this time, we had 5.7%. And so you can literally see that we had a fourth of the cases up until this time. So hopefully we are expecting a mild season. It's too early. Thanksgiving is still not upon us. Once that comes in, January is when this thing is going to be exactly unfolding. But the good news here is we have mobilized 30 special clinics. We hit those zip codes, which we felt there were high hospitalization rates from last year, and we hit them early this year. So we've completed, again, I want to share with the Commissioners Court that the dedication of our nursing staff really got us through to 30 mobilization events already. It's been 65 days since the flu season began, and we've done 30 clinics so far. and these are all in the zip codes that.
Where are you in your complement of nurses? I know what we did to go out there and to stabilize that workforce and kind of revisit it. Where are you on vacancies now?
The vacancies, slowly but surely, the vacancies are getting filled. I can see the movement, and of course, it's a little bit slow at this point, but it's much far better than it was before the discretionary increases. Come again?
How many vacancies are there?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
We will. If I quote a number, I just didn't want to be off track, but the ballpark is about 6, maybe 7, 8 vacancies at this point. And one of the things I need to go back is some of those Commissioner, some of those positions are registered nurse positions are not funded. So if you look at the books, then you may be off a little bit. But I can tell this court that we have made a lot of improvements, and I can report back a number to you to be accurate.
And I've asked Ryan in a number of places to look, and I won't say what's grant funded and all, but the main thing, Mr. Shovelmeyer, they've stopped they've stopped the hemorrhaging. The turnover rate out there was just unbelievable. It was probably, was it twice? It was at least twice. Excuse me, the county average. And so they've been able to subside that hemorrhaging out there.
Right.
And that's been real key, and I want to compliment you.
Thank you.
But this we really with the nurses and Parkland basically in the jails having the same challenge, but we're at least on par now with them compensation wise.
That's very true. And it's really, this court has really helped us move that forward and stem the tide, like you said. So, but I will report back a number offline. And so, Commissioner, we have really made strides in the flu clinic area, and basically that's all I had for today.
Right. Thank you. And congratulations to you and the the older adult program. We got 9 new vehicles, fleet from the Community Council of Greater Dallas, but primarily because you and your staff were very forward and in ensuring that fleet was redone. So
what that means to older people in the Dallas area is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Because it is difficult for you and I to get around, and when you're older, it gets impossible. So thank you for the dedication and making sure that happens. Also want to appreciate the mobile units that you're using around the county, because that also increases accessibility for a lot of people who have a difficult time getting around the area. So it does make a difference, so thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, all the different programs that we have in the Health and Human Services Department is appreciated, like my colleagues have said, all the way around.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Judge, I pushed over from from election day to today on this judicial management. Laura Edmonds, I saw her here earlier, and I did get that information. I asked for some additional information. Mr. Thomas is running that information, and it's here now?
Yeah, you just got it.
Okay. My people should have. Okay. Because you ask one question, you find up getting a million other things. Is outside counsel here on the Davis case yet? They're not here yet? Under judicial management, a couple of things. We've talked about these tools. I pushed back. I did get it, Ms. Richardson, but you sent over. And that's where it's always been. The information with regards to what's going on in that jail. This court, I think they just walked in. Yep. They just walked in. This court is responsible for what goes on, bottom line, in this county. And I guess what's concerning me, I'm hearing some things that really give me some real pause. The judge is holding this court responsible at the end of the day. And I guess the program that we are proceeding forward on, given the judge's directive, seems to be hitting some, I don't know if it's derailment or what, but you know, the judges have got to decide, because at the end of the day, they can talk about tools and all. At the end of the day, one of the reasons I'm going to contend that we're in this lawsuit is because judicial discretion. They've always had that. They've had the discretion to decide whether or not my burglary I have is $5,000 bond or $1,000, or whether or not I'm going to appeal. I don't know if my colleagues have seen or even want to see this. This is a report. I know I sent it over to Commissioner Daniels. This is a report on risk assessment and pretrial release. And I don't know if pretrial release has seen this. Judge McVeigh, I'm glad to see you here. And I'm sure you're going to join us in session, because we need to talk about it. But this is giving us some real pause. And basically what this is saying, even with the so-called tools and all, you got a better than a 50% no-show rate. And we've got to decide, you know, are we going to really have a real judicial system or on the criminal side, or are we just going to bring people in, release people, and hope they show up? Because right now, based on everybody else's experience from New Mexico to Arizona, across the nation, nothing has changed. They're releasing them, ain't showing up. So what does that do to our system? At some point in time, we're going to have an assessment of this. The other piece I asked Laura to do, and she did send it, and I'll send it to the rest of the court, with regards to this jail competency stuff. One of the things that came up during jail population, again, jail management, right now, all of the assessment tools that both the Texas Commission on Jail Standards and Smart Justice and Caruth and everyone else says to use to basically vet the population and intake, they're saying 35 to 40% of the individuals coming in, even under that Sandra Bland Act, wind up with some mental or behavioral challenge. Is that correct, Mr. Steele? 6 months. Okay, so my problem is with that, we've got the same basic doctors. I've been here 34 years. I think some of these doctors have been here 34 years. I'm asking for the contract. I don't know if anybody can even find a dadgum contract. Want to know how much they've been paid? They're the ones that are supposed to be doing competency, restoration, etc. This must be an annual appropriation. This can't be. Okay. But you know, we've got the same doctors. We know how many cases they're now doing. Laura has extracted that information. But, you know, this the whole competency restoration, people, you know, what's going on? And we got to get our hands around it. The judge, and I think our lawyers are going to tell us, the judges are holding us responsible. They're holding us responsible.
The federal judges.
The federal judge,
are holding us responsible.
Right. Judge Godbee, let me just say that. Judge Godbee is holding us responsible. And he's holding us responsible from the time we do intake, we put our hands on them in the outlying suburbs, to the time we get them here, and what happens to them within the time they hit our facility. And I'm hearing some things that's giving me some real pause. And I'm going to try to hold off. I know some people want to go do some other things, but I'm going to hold off until after we talk to our judges. Well, until after we talk to our judges.
Exactly, Commissioner Price. I mean, what concerns you the most with the judges?
Okay. What is concerning me right now is that we physically, even with Elise and all, we've taken a delegation to Tarrant County. We began to make physical physical adjustments in that jail with regards to how this process should work. Judge Godby is working off of the Fifth Circuit direction. And with our lawyers giving us advice, we're doing everything that the court says that we should do. I'm now hearing that with regards to prosecution and defense, there is some pushback because our judges are saying that they are not acceding their responsibility to the Commissioner's Court. We don't want anybody's responsibility. All we're saying is we're trying to be responsive to that judge. In other words, we're putting the Public Defender's Office and the prosecution there at the time of a robust bail hearing. And the magistrate has all of the information data there from pretrial to make a determination. We're now hearing there's concerns with regards to public defenders being in the group. And so they're saying now if they got lawyers that they can put over there 24/7, this is not an 8 to 5, this is 24/7. And so, and I doubt very seriously they're going to find lawyers that's going to be there 24/7. I've heard this before, but it appears to be trying to come to some fruition now, and it's giving me some real pause, because we have now appropriated dollars, correct, with regards to the Public Defender's Office with a 24/7 rigorous presentation, and the Prosecutor's Office. That's what all of the physical renovations are in the jail. But I'm hearing this, and I'm having some real pause. So,
and those are our representations to the federal judge.
That's what we have.
This has nothing to do with taking away the court's powers, our court's powers, with regards to representation. It only has to do with the bail. Period.
That's it. We're strictly talking about bail process.
And that's it.
Right, right. And I don't know, and I haven't talked to Mr. Richardson, said anything, but I don't know if a lawyer gets appointed later on, if somehow the Public Defender's Office can't hand off to that lawyer. There's no prohibition of that, right, Mr. Heichel?
Yes.
Okay. So my point is, I'm putting it on the record. You know, we have a responsibility. This court in this county is liable with regards to to Judge Godby for what's going on with this judicial piece. Yep. And so I'm just putting it out there.
But we're following what he is telling us.
We are, Dr. Garcia. But what's concerning me is I'm hearing another train coming. And as again, I didn't know Judge McVeigh was going to be here.
We're hoping politics isn't
part of it,
intervening into the system that we're trying to make sure that we comply with the Fifth Circuit and Judge Godby's order.
But we will comply with federal law. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And there is the will on this court to do what we need to be doing, which is in the best interest of Dallas County residents, that is fair and just and legal, with the cognizant that we are living in 2018, to make sure that it's a system that is in today's world, but then also maintains the justice of what we're trying to do. Is what.
And I wanted to put that in perspective, but I'm still going to. Okay, and then on the record, because I wanted to be on the record. This court's position moving forward.
Nothing to do with politics is what we've been asked to do.
About that. But I do want to share this, and as I send it to her, but I'll thumb drive. I'll send it to the rest of my colleagues, and most of us have read this. I'm having at some point in time, and I don't know if you've seen it, Ms. Richardson, but at some point in time, we've got to make a a determination that helps those judges, Judge McVeigh, make a decision as we go forward. Because as I said, people, we can let 50% of the people go. We can let 100% of them go. Do they return? You know, do they return? And if they don't return, then what do we do then? Sheriff's got 100,000 warrants in her file.
Not enough staff to go out and enforce those.
I got a thumb drive on it. This is what I've been working on. I'll get you a copy. I'll send everybody a copy. So, anyway, I wanted to do that without, bless you, getting into all of this, the judicial matter. The competency piece is definitely a piece that we've got to be able to do, because we're seeing that whole recycle in jail population. We're seeing the same people that are charged with criminal trespass, the same people that are, you know, we let them out and within 48 hours, 72 hours, they're right back. And all they're doing is cycling through. Hey, Judge, sorry, didn't see you. Congratulations. Yeah, you got 2 or 3 of them again. Okay. Anyway, well, all we're saying is that, you know, we've got to change some things. And I'm saying to the judges, we've had the same doctors as long as I've been. Like I tell them, hell, at least I've been elected. They appointed, and we got the same doctors. Now, is our business such that those 4 doctors are the only somebody who wants our business? You know, is that the case? And I'm just throwing it in the air. We got the same doctors for 30 years who've been doing our jail competency, jail restoration, same doctors. And so we, you know, something. I mean, we ought to, I mean, at some point in time, we ought to at least, is there a contract out there? And as I said, we're looking for the contract.
Well, is there a way of assessing that? Are they doing a good job?
Well, I mean, all I can tell you is that based on Laura's report and the number of individuals that have been that they are seeing, it's kind of peculiar. It's peculiar. Total evaluations completed, total found competent, always less than looks like 20%, totally recommended for inpatient competent restoration, and this is just 2018 numbers. And then the totally recommended for outpatient restoration, and if you watch the doctors, you got a pattern here. Percentage of evaluations completed, 11%, 7%, 1%, you know, and 81%. Yeah. And then the percent of evaluation found competent. It's interesting. When we look at the numbers, and we'll push all of this stuff over. All I'm saying is we can't look at any of this stuff in isolation. We've got to look at all of this and figure out how we're managing this facility. Because, you know, Mr. Steele gives us those numbers in jail pop, and y'all get all of those numbers. And I think Mike Laughlin even, yeah, Mike's back there. You know, you interview 3,500 people and only 100 people, you know, make it through the eye of the needle. What are we doing? We spend a lot of time and energy. So I'm going to cut it as close to being short there, Judge, because I'm waiting for some other information. Mr. Thomas is getting us some other. Yeah, well, it is short. Believe me.
Short sale, baby.
Yeah, sure. But
it's important. I think it should be in the record. And as we know, also the agenda has an update for all of you that want to read it about what we're doing in the pre-trial assessment, how we're moving it forward. Like Commissioner Price said, we're ready to comply. We're ready to do it as soon as we can. But I think this is important to put in the record that we're moving forward and we're going to do it in the right way and without politics as much as we can.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That was pretty good, Commissioner.
Let's do our consent.
Second.
All right.
I'm going to abstain on the new hires. As always, keeps amazing me, the lack of diversity that we have in some of the hires, especially in the juvenile department.
Okay, we'll cut that into 2 separates from now on, script writers. And I'll let you know that, but can you take care of that in the notes?
Yeah,
all right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, I think we've got,
System still not, okay, there it is.
Who seconded?
Commissioner Dan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you did.
Before we get too deep into a variety of things, and we're going to be getting into all of the orders of today's business, I would just like to say that county business is very broad. There are a lot of things going on in our worlds. I would like to just take a moment to commend Ms. Pauline Madrano, who is our Dallas County treasurer. The interest earnings for 2018 almost doubled from last year, which I don't know about what you're making on your bank accounts right now, but when I get my 7 cents, I am a little bit less than impressed. But what she has passed along is that in fiscal year 2017, about $7.2 million were seen as far as interest earnings. In 2018, that rose to $13.1 million. That is a combination of things. Obviously, we've got a robust financial situation right now, but it's also good management. It's keeping on top of things. It's making sure that you're making decisions in a timely manner. So thank you very much. There are some good news is that the county is involved in, and that is one of them. Thank you very much.
And thank you for all you've done at the national level as well.
That's right.
President of the National Association of Latino Elected Officials.
all right. Is your motion on the bids?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have our court orders, K1 through 49 and addendums 50 through 54, pulling 27 and 49 off the agenda and pulling 45 for a separate vote.
Judge, also the district clerk would like to pull court order number 14 and bring that back on December the 4th.
I'm pulling 14 as well. Okay. What's 14?
Pulling 14 in the future.
A separate vote for which one?
45.
Separate vote for 45, and everything else was just pulled.
So I'll move court orders 1 through 54, excluding court orders 14, 27, 45, and 49.
So, second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those...
Hold on, she didn't catch it.
Okay,
1 through 54,
pulling
14, 27, 45, and 49.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I wanted to talk, Judge, just about
Hang on, let me hit this real fast. Talk away.
Okay, sorry. I just want to mention addendum item number 54, which is the alkaline hydrolysis process that we pulled during our last court session. I just want to thank, of course, Dr. Andy Stoker, Senior Minister from the First United Methodist Church, of course, Mr. Michael Walfond, Resland Funeral Home Director of Community Outreach, our good Dallas County Medical Examiner, Dr. Jeffrey Bernard, and his staff. Obviously, our DFW National Cemetery, and last but never least, Mr. Martin and his staff for, pulling all this together. When we talk about how much the county does in different areas that the public doesn't have an idea of what's going out there, is one of these processes. I think that this agenda item not only help us giving people that sometimes are forgotten a respectful local final disposition for the human remains, but also, in my personal opinion, avoids the pollution of the ocean. When we look about alkaline hydrolysis, it's a process of heat. It's a process that makes, pretty much human remains a liquid form. And, well, you can argue that it's an alkalis liquid that goes into the ocean. And, hey, a lot of people say only 17% of the ocean is in natural form. That means that humans successfully have destroyed 83%. But with that being said, the less, in my opinion, that you put into the ocean, especially when you're putting a liquid that is alkaline with a pH of almost 14 in an ocean that is 8.1% alkaline pH. I just start wondering what else are we dumping into the ocean, and we really want sometimes, to feed any more from it. But with that being said, I think it's a win-win for the county and it's a win-win for the environment that we successfully change the policy in this agenda item for the future. And I want to thank again all of you that make it happen. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, I acquiesce to your when I talked to Dr. Bernard, and I understand this may be 2, and I know where it's 1 or 2 a year. That's good. If it gives everybody a comment, if everybody feels better about it.
Yes, we couldn't do it without Resland. Resland Cemetery, thank you, kudos to you. Thank you for helping, a lot of families, because even when sometimes these human remains are not claimed, it's for whatever we just talked about here. Lack of economics, lack of care sometimes. It's emotional, but nevertheless, everybody in my book has a story and has to have a story with a positive ending.
15 and 21.
Thank you, Commissioner Price, for your patience.
Okay, yes, ma'am. 15 and 21, Mr. Shovelmeyer, I want to thank you. I heard from the community with regards to it. It has been a total retrofit. Thank you very much for what's been happening. No problem with the city, no problem with the state. Total different turnaround over there.
And there was an item with the juvenile department, item number 32, that we have no existing services for young female sex offenders. Commissioner Price, I mean, so it's not something that happens regularly. It's something that we go out and.
Right.
Okay.
This was a special, Mr. Bailey. Okay, but we discussed this in the juvenile board. This is a special case.
And it's not often, so these services are as needed basis.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Move court order 45. Oh, we got to take a vote on that?
Well, no, we already did.
Okay. I move court order 45.
Second.
All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
And I vote no. Motion carries 4-1. And let's see.
Did we have
4 speakers?
We got 4 speakers.
27 and 49
Speakers, can I just take a moment and just thank the court? We have a new facilities director, Mr. Greg Gray. The facilities department has been through a huge transition over the last 8 years. And
Greg used to work here, right?
He still works here.
He still works here. But he's a director.
He's the director now. We hired him he moved him from interim, went through an interview process with 4 or 5 people. And, again, thanks to Dr. Garcia's leadership with facilities over the last 5 years, this department has completely turned around. So we want to thank
it was right there with that vault I was talking about earlier.
It was.
Only accelerated. No, Greg, and you take over very difficult, and I do appreciate that. And with Dr. Garcia and Dr. Daniels and the committee, we've watched that process evolve. But more than that, we've watched that culture evolve. Second to that reservation that I talked about, plantation, was Dallas County facilities.
Right.
It was right in that same deal. We were going into areas, finding stuff written on the walls. Nobody knew how it got there. All kind of commentary. And so I just want to.
No, thank you guys, and of course it couldn't happen without Mr. Mark, Mr. Bazan, that we just took care of our employees also. I think that pride is a very important part of a healthy workforce that is motivated to do the best they can. And I think that's what we're doing. And I want to thank again, all the facilities employees that come up with a can-do attitude rather than, oh my God, I belong to the department that never does anything right. So Thank you, Mr. Rosan. Thank you, Mr. Martin, Mr. Gray. I look forward to continue working with you. We're going to have even more incentives, guys, because some of the ideas that you're bringing forward, I always tell Mr. Martin, if we can patent them, we can make the county even richer. But then again, that's not lawfully correct. So, with that being said, thank you. I'm delighted to be the chair, and we will continue to do the best we can as a team for a winning team in Dallas County with the best management. Right, Commissioner Price? I cannot forget that word.
That's right.
With the best management and effectiveness that we will ever have. Thank you.
I would like to take just a moment, if I could. I know that there's always time is of the essence, but you can see even this morning, in a very short period of time, the number of items that Dallas County works with. And there is a sincere effort by not only people at this table, but so many, almost 6,500 employees trying to bring everything together. And the efforts of the directors are very, very much appreciated. Would also like to take note, though, that no, we are not done. That what we do here, we do with open eye to address injustice, to address hate that is in our world. At least 22 transgender people were killed in 2018 for no other reason than of who they were. That kind of existence in our society of what's going on in other parts, at least I know that at this table, is unacceptable. And so it's just an awareness of we are not done yet by a long shot, Commissioner Price. God bless you. And on that happy note, we will say God bless you and God bless the great county of Dallas.
He already, if it makes,
took the shot.
if it makes everybody feel better, he already had his flu shot.
All right. Well, and I just want to say to purchase, y'all sent out this no solicitation bid, no contact. In contact, but I'm sure every member of the court, according to the deal, got a thing from Hart, and I passed mine on, like Mr. Martin said, to him. We didn't contact them; they contacted us, and I don't think that well, they sent it directly to Mr. Price. So I just want you to understand that we did not contact them on the solicitation; they contacted us, FedExed it and all, and I passed it on to Mr. Martin. Making sure that the record's clear. Okay?
Excellent, Commissioner Price.
We have some public speakers with available. Please read the rules of decorum for our public speakers.
All commission court attendees are hereby advised that this meeting is conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are to preserve order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Again, all applause is to be kept brief in observance of time constraints. Disrupting visitors and or registered speakers may be removed and are subject to the penalties provided in the State of Texas Penal Code, Sections 38.13, 42.01, and 42.05. Registered individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and the maximum discussion of any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
And before our public speakers come up, I notice that we have some public speakers who are not our frequent public speakers complaining about issues in courts. I want you to understand, under our rules, first, we don't have any appellate oversight over the decision-making of judges or the day-to-day operations of other independent elected officials. And second of all, it means it's no disrespect if you ask us questions. This is your opportunity to speak about your concerns, but we're not allowed to engage with you on those because it's not on our agenda. So understanding that, our first public speaker is Mr. Marco Montemayor.
Interesting.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, sir.
Marco Montemayor.
Sir, when you'll state your name and your address for the record. Up here, if it works, there'll be like a traffic light. when the light goes yellow, you got about 30 seconds.
It's not. We're going to have to use the phone.
Not
We'll
working.
use the phone. No.
I'll keep time on my phone. You want me to kind of give you like this when you got 30 seconds? Is that helpful?
Yeah, I'll give you that. And
Okay,
just
I'll
don't
give
do
you that.
this.
And then when you're out of time, I'll give you it like this and just finish your sentence, okay?
Yeah, I'll be quick.
Thank you, sir.
I filed a lawsuit in December 2017
You can lift that up.
naming the Commissioner's Court here in Dallas County with a partner of mine, Kenneth Robert Stewart. On December 22nd, I had my third child in 3 years, Aries Antonio Montemare. On March 23, our district court received the appellant approval and acceptance in the 5th District. The same day, I received a summons to appear in Judge Martin's court for parenting services. I accepted. 4 days later, there's an officer at my door wanting to do a wellness check. I wasn't there. She came and did the wellness check. Everything was okay. And 3 days later, constables show up to take my kids on a false affidavit. I have yet to been able to address my appellate court, and I guess that's God's will, because it put me in front of the Superior Court, which is the Texas Supreme Court. And I have prepared a petition that is citing y'all as defendants in that case in a wrongful removal and interference with child custody, especially Mr. John Wiley Price, because that union was on it. And I've seen many of common, I guess they say, acquaintances and photographs with you and Miss Martin. I was aware of your Suburban the first day I walked into the court. It was parked right there in the front door of the juvenile detention center. I have not had counsel. They appointed me counsel, so it made me indigent prior to the petition was filed. There's many things that are wrong with this case. That's why I'm here to address it with you guys. I will not send my petition out to the Supreme Court until this afternoon at 4 o'clock, and they won't be open for another day or so, whenever. But I want to leave copies of my petition with y'all guys so y'all can review it. And I pray that my children are back today. That's how important it is. There's no evidence. There's extreme judicial issues, and that's what's going to be up on review. And my kids don't deserve it. They're all under the age of 3, been separated from each other and their home, and that's terrible. So I have jurisdiction, and y'all have jurisdiction, and y'all been noticed, and I'll leave documentation with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, our next thank you, sir. Our next public speaker is Mr. Richard Sheridan. Mr. Richard Sheridan. Mr. Richard Sheridan. Our next public speaker is Ms. Ruth Torres.
Good morning. My name is Ruth Torres, and I bring before you a matter of complaining about District Clerk Felicia Petrie. As Commissioner Price pointed out, this court is responsible for the things that occur here in Dallas County.
Can you lower the microphone a little bit?
Sorry.
So I can hear you better.
Sure. As Commissioner Price pointed out, this court is responsible for the things that happen in Dallas County, and that includes the actions of elected officials. Statute under Texas Rules of Civil Procedure 76.A prohibits the removal of court records absent a specific process. A judge did order records to be removed from the court system, and Felicia Petrie not only entered that order into the record, but executed it and removed records from the public, which detail which detail and support my allegations of government corruption at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport and its contractor pursuit of excellence. Further, those records have been removed since June and refused to be returned. Additionally, Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 145 and Texas Rule of Appellate Procedure 20.1K specifies duties for the clerk to provide records to the Court of Appeals. And Felicia Petrie has refused to provide those records, which undermine my brief and my position before the Court of Appeals, where I have brought mandamus proceedings because of that order, which removed court records. So I respectfully request that this board support and promote justice, as well as the reputation of this court system. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll be emailing the details of that to you individually. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last public speaker today is Mr. Lloyd Scher. Mr. Lloyd Scher. Mr. Lloyd Scher. All right, this concludes our public speakers. We're going to adjourn to closed session to consider matters under Chapter 551 of the Government Code as previously posted. Any action as a result of the closed session will take place in the subsequent open session. We'll begin that in about 1 minute. Nice, and that's serious for the closed session. Court stands adjourned.